hold on, ma'am. Dang, you effed around and found out. Oh, that's what you get. He replaced your butt.
I was
Good.
served divorce papers simply for wanting an open marriage. My ex husband replaced me. I am willing to forgive my husband and take him back, but I will say he was evil with what he did. Yes, I asked for an open marriage, but he agreed to it. He got someone younger than me and replaced me. It's just disgusting. That wasn't the point of the marriage. It was for us to become closer together. That probably sounds like an oxymoron, but it works. It's worked for several people for their marriage, my husband, and pretty much exposed how he felt about me. He wanted to leave me in the first place, or at least have his cake and eat it too. What man agrees to something like this only to just find a replacement? Maybe he was dealing with her before I even asked for the open marriage. This could have all just been meant to be. Either way, I still live with regret because I really did love my ex-husband and I still love him. He blocked me on Facebook, but I created another account and I saw that he is actually in a whole relationship with this girl, emphasis on girl, like he told me. That he was dealing with during our open relationship. I never had feelings involved with any other man, and I only had sex with one other man during the open relationship and didn't go out with other guys. Apparently, this new girl told my ex-husband that she'd give him a baby, something he's been wanting. My ex-husband and I were married for 4 years, but I wasn't ready to have a baby yet. I didn't want to lose my body. Every single woman I worked at got pregnant. They blew up to the size of houses. These women are huge. Me and one other girl that was there, but she married out boss and quit. Kept our shapes. And I refused to be like the obese ladies. Plus, also, I learned that having a vegan diet makes it difficult to carry a child. Anyway, I'm not changing my diet. For years, my ex-husband would ask me to try for a baby. I will be honest, I lied to him before we got married. Before he even proposed to me, he was asking me about children, and this is something we talked about initially while we were dating. I was never too sure. I guess me telling him that I wanted to have his child is what made him go ahead and propose to me because I told him I would have his child. 3 days later, he asked me to be his wife, but while we were married, I just kept pushing it off and pushing it off. I could tell he'd get fed up and it was upset. All of his brothers had children. His cousins, they all had children. He was the only one that didn't have a child. He'd ask me just one, at least one. I suggested adopting a child. He said he wants his own child. My ex-husband also did something that rubbed me the wrong way. So my sister and I came up with the idea of a surrogate. Basically, my sister would carry my child using my ex-husband's sperm. When I brought this to my husband's attention, I was explaining to him. I didn't explain the injected part. Egg being injected with his sperm or whatever. My husband assumed he got to sleep with my sister, and he was all for it, telling me, "You're okay with this. So, you wouldn't mind me sleeping with your sister? Okay, that's fine." I got so pissed, I went off on my ex-husband. "Why would you think I'd want you to sleep with my sister, you freaking idiot? It's my egg. It's your sperm. She's holding it." He couldn't seem to understand this initially. When I told him how it actually works, he was okay with it. He said, "Well, that's what we need to do." This also caused me to be upset with my sister as well after my divorce. I lost interest anymore. I guess it was a way of punishing him, and I didn't go through with it because I couldn't believe he was wanting to sleep with my sister. This is my sister. Sister. My close sister. My blood sister. Same mom, same dad. That right there should have told me all about my husband, but I eventually got over it. Like I said, we were married, but I kept pushing off having a child with him. As bad as he wanted one, I just kept pushing it off, so my ex-husband had a great career as a chemical engineer. I worked as a dental assistant, worked for the doctor. We do everything and get paid less than he does. He was licensed, so he made the big bucks, but me and other girls did all the work. Anyway, I did that for a while, even though my boss was a prick. He was a total arrogant piece of crap, very, very full of himself. We all figured he was dating one of the hygienists. They kept it very secret. She eventually quit, and all of a sudden, they're married. We all knew they had something going. Doc always treated her better than us, and she could never make a mistake. Now she doesn't have to work. She has a rich husband who takes care of her, and it's sad because she has no idea that he sits there and flirts with every single woman in that office, the obese ones, and including the receptionist. Oh well, she knew how he was. Not my problem. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So, throughout our marriage, I'll rate my marriage maybe 7.5 out of 10. It wasn't perfect. Sex was good most of the time, but not all the time. And I'm the type of person, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to do my best every time. With my ex-husband, yes, I understood he worked a lot. And he was really busy, but if you're going to put it on me, put it on me. Don't half-ass it. It's selfish. Men listening, stop doing that. Stop thinking you're going to just get a quickie off. Pleasing yourself and leaving your woman hanging, that is a good way to get cheated on. Now, I never cheated on my ex-husband, but I definitely suggested an open marriage. Because, well, I needed it all the time, and I wanted it right every time I did it. The best case scenario, I'm going to allow him to do so, and I trust us both to be safe. I definitely will be safe, and I know he would too. He's not that type of guy. What I did not expect was for him to replace me for another woman. A young woman, pretty woman, great shape, and willing to have a child. She was willing to ruin her perfect body for my husband's baby, something I wasn't willing to do. I just wanted to give it a little more time. My husband also told me how we were just too old to be waiting any longer, and eventually I wouldn't be able to produce a child. I told him it would be on him. Women can have children at any moment, any time, any age. Husband told me a simple Google search would correct me here. I know what my teacher told me in school. Men have a hard time with their sperm the older they get. If a woman keeps herself healthy, she can have a child well in her 60s and 70s, but of course, a misogynist man wouldn't want to hear that. Anyway, one day, a very handsome man came into the office. He was a new patient. He was there for teeth cleaning, and he was looking into getting invisible braces for the bottom row of his teeth. He kind of had a couple crooked teeth. He was very handsome, and he was a lawyer. He practiced contract law, and he was a licensed realtor. This is one ambitious man. He bought and sold commercial real estate. He really had it going for himself, and he was flirting with me. So of course I'd flirt back. He was scheduled to come back for his fitting for his invisible braces, and I made sure I was the one that was going to be doing the fitting. I scheduled him for 3:30. Our office closes at 4:30. The doctor was gone by 3 o'clock, and the two other girls that were there had just finished up, and they were going to head out. I was going to close the office. It was just me and this new guy patient. His name is William. I did the fittings for William, and he was excited about his braces and told me he was wanting to pay everything up front. He didn't want to do a payment plan. This man had it going for himself. After talking well after his appointment, I was finished. I locked the doors at the office. I couldn't resist myself, and I started to kiss this man. I really wanted him to take advantage of me, but he stopped and said, "Not here." "Do you have office cameras or anything?" I told him no. We didn't, but he said not here. We have to do it somewhere else. How about this? Let's go out sometime. I'm a married woman. He told me, "Well, I'm pretty sure you don't want to be married anymore, because if you did, you wouldn't be here kissing me." I told him that I loved my husband, and William told me, "You know what? This was a mistake. Thanks for helping me out." I stopped William, and I told him I wanted to be with him, and if it was possible that I can remain married and still have him. And he said absolutely. William gave me his cell phone number and his office number and told me to call him whenever it was possible for me to do so. The same day I went home and told my husband that I think we should have an open marriage. I came home and my husband was preparing dinner for us. When we sat down at the table, I told him I believed that an open marriage would benefit the both of us, and I told him straight up that sometimes he's lackluster in the bedroom and I want him to give it to me the right way every time. I totally understand that he works a lot. My ex-husband just sat there with a blank face staring at me, so I just kept talking and yapping. I don't know how much he was taking in, but I was just telling him how I felt at the end of it. He says, "Okay, if that's what you want, that's what you get." I didn't like how he said it, but okay, let's have an open marriage. I laid down the ground rules. I told him no one that we know, not in the house, and if you're going on a date, you can only spend this much money. I put a cap on what he could spend on dates for another woman because it just wasn't fair. Don't go out and take someone to a fancy restaurant and travel to Greece or something crazy. My ex-husband was okay with it, and I thought everything was going to be great. The following day, I was off of work. It was a Friday, and I decided to reach out to William. He responded immediately and asked me if I was ready. I asked him ready for what? He sent me a picture of himself standing in the mirror with nothing on. I replied with hearts and smiles, and I told him to give me his address. He sent me the address to his home. I put it in my Apple Maps, but then I ran to my computer and I searched it. This house was amazing, beautiful. He's living there by himself. All those bedrooms, all those spaces. I started looking at all the spaces and rooms that are in the house, and I just imagined me and William taking advantage of every single space in that house. I felt like I made the best decision of my life, asking ex-husband for an open marriage. I dealt with William for a couple months, and within that time I did ask my ex-husband who he was dealing with. He was happy to show me this young girl, 23 years old in college, ready to graduate and start a family. Beautiful girl. She was studying interior design, played sports, and was highly intelligent. According to my ex-husband, I saw a child. I called him cradle robber. He got offended. He wasn't even going to ask me about who I was seeing, so I asked him, "Do you care about who I'm dealing with?" He says, "Oh, who are you dealing with?" I said his name is William. He's a realtor, and he's a lawyer. He's very successful, and he's very handsome. Ex-husband just says, "Oh, okay, cool. All right, well, I'll see you later. I'm going to be out all night. Probably won't come home until tomorrow." He didn't even care. I just bragged about some man who had money and was good looking, and he didn't seem to care. So that bothered me. I didn't like that. I started to miss my ex-husband. I started noticing him gone more often with this girl. Taking her out, he's telling me she's such a great cook. This young college student knows how to cook. Pictures of meals that she prepared for him, and I'm telling him she got that out of the freezer or cooler from Whole Foods or something and put it together. She didn't prepare that. He's such an idiot. He would tell me how jealous I am, and I gave you what you wanted. Don't get mad. Now he was rubbing it in my face. I wouldn't think that he would want to divorce me to be with this little girl. My husband is gone for a week. It was supposed to be for work, but I found out he was on vacation with this child. It was a Wednesday and I got a knock at my door. It's the sheriff. I immediately got terrified. I thought something had happened to my husband. Now the sheriff hands me an envelope and tells me that I am being served divorce papers. I said, "Get the F out of here. There is no way in the world." This sheriff assaulted me. He grabbed me by my shirt and said I'd better show him some respect or I'm going to jail. He let me go. I shut the door. This man is divorcing me for this girl. I immediately called my ex-husband. He picks up and I tell him, what the hell is he doing? Where is he? And why is he divorcing me? This is when he's telling me about how his new girlfriend wants to have his child when she graduates and she wants to start a family. And she believes in monogamy and not believing in open marriages. Telling me the best thing that she's the best to ever happen to him. And he's going to move on from me because I clearly never loved him in the first place. He pissed me off. I told him he needs to get home and we need to close this marriage or I'm going to take everything from him, and I hung up the phone. I expected my husband to come running through that door on that day, Wednesday. He came home the following Sunday, happy as ever. I told him I was assaulted by the sheriff. He didn't care that I was crying. I told him we need to close this open marriage, and this is ridiculous. We're not getting a divorce so he can go be with some young girl. He smiles at me and says, "We're getting a divorce. Get over it. I've already got my things settled. I'll be moving out." I told him, "You going to move in with her? You're going to live in her apartment with her roommates." My ex-husband says, "No, I'm actually moving into one of the 3 homes that she owns. Her father gave her some of his properties as a high school graduation gift." I didn't believe him. I thought he was full of crap. Well, it does turn out that this girl comes from a pretty wealthy family. Well, at least her father and some of her other family members, but her father owns a lot of property. William actually knows him and has done business with him. William sold him some commercial property. What a small world. William and I slowly stopped seeing each other, not because of my decision, but he just started pulling away and I couldn't understand why. I'd ask him, and I'd text him a lot, and he'd just tell me he was busy. I eventually saw him out with some other woman and figured it was because of somebody else. William went to get married to some other woman. I guess she was better than me. My ex-husband and I went through divorce, and of course, I tried to get what I could out of him, but I couldn't. He made more money than me, for sure, but I wasn't able to get alimony. I wasn't able to get his retirement, and we had to split our joint savings. I didn't get anything. So my ex-husband is with this young girl living in a paid-off house. I followed him there from his job, and the house is nice. I'm sure she's making him pay the bills and the property tax. William is married to some other woman who is actually pretty successful. She's a lawyer as well. And I'm just a divorced woman here writing a story to a YouTube channel designed for men to make fun of women. I figured your channel could do some justice with having a woman tell her side of the story. If you guys think about it, my ex-husband was not the perfect man. He had his flaws. You're not supposed to neglect your wife. If you're having sex 5 times out of the week and you're only getting her off 3 out of those 5 times, you're not doing your job and you're neglecting your wife and you're pushing her to go cheat on you instead of doing your job as a husband. Today, I would take my husband back if he wanted to come back to me and he apologized. I'd take him back. That young girl doesn't want anything to do with him. He has gray hair. What does he have in common with her friends? He's a grandpa to them. Okay, maybe not that old, but big brother at least. It's just ridiculous. Oh, I almost forgot this part. My sister and I actually fell out after my divorce, so it turned out that my ex-husband wasn't the only one thinking about sleeping with my sister. My sister actually was thinking about sleeping with my husband as well. She said she didn't quite understand what a surrogate was. She thought it meant that they sleep together and conceive the baby. I told her no, why would you be okay with that? Now she was drunk, and at first I thought she was joking with me, but she was telling me the truth. All I had was my sister when I was getting the divorce, but for her to tell me something like this just bothered me, and it made me wonder if they'd actually slept together before. Maybe they were cheating on me behind my back. You just never know, and you can never trust anyone. My sister said that's not true. She never slept with him, but she seriously thought. The way that I wanted them to conceive the child was to have sex. A simple Google search, she could figure this out. I feel like I was surrounded by idiots. Anyway, I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Hold on, man. Dang, you effed around and found out. That's what you get. He replaced your butt. Good. He should have. William doesn't want you. William doesn't want you. Your ex-husband doesn't want you. He's happy. Leave him alone. Calling him old. Oh, he's grandpa. Nobody's going to want old grandpa. Nobody wants you. hating on him. Mm, mm, mm. And here's the thing too. You said, so if you are having sex with your husband, you guys do it 5 times a week. You say he does it the way you want it 3 out of those 5 times. He's still failing to you? Like, come on. You just want this perfect person. He's making great money. He has a career. He's busy. Cut him some slack. Why are you so selfish? What's up with all this selfishness? Ridiculous. Ma'am, you got what you deserved. I'm sorry. Thanks for sending in this story, but you got what you deserved. And this is not a channel to bash. This is not what that is. You know, if you truly felt that way, you would not have sent me this. Guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments. I'm going to catch you guys at the next one.